Hello, I got a Farmhouse Pale Ale from Fox Farm. It's called Rove, and this one is supposed to be kind of like their clean pale ales in the grist, and also assertively dry hop, they say, but a mixed culture farmhouse saison type beer for the most part. um, this is batch 4 from November, or bottled November 2021. So less than 6 months old, not too old, and yeah, sort of dry hopping. With this batch is a Mosaic and HBC 630. They even say it's American and British barley, oats, and wheat. But yeah, it has a little bit of aging in oak fooders. Seems like a lot of their process and the way they make these is similar to Hill Farmstead, where like some are fully barrel aged, sour farmhouse ales, and then some like this one are just a little hoppier and not as extensively aged, and that's very pale. And definitely getting some hop notes, yeah. This reminds me right off the bat of like Funky Gold Mosaic. If you're going back way far, one of the first really assertively Mosaic hopped like sour beers I had from Prairie. This one is probably not going to be as sour. It's definitely going to have sour notes. You can tell it has that lemony sort of thing, but it's also just funky. It's got some Brett qualities, but definitely the hops are jumping out of this. HBC 630, you know, it's a new experimental hop with no real name. I don't know anything much about that, but the Mosaic is definitely coming in there. And I'm not always a huge fan of Mosaic, but in sour beers, it seems like it works well. It's like that blueberry peach thing just mellows out the tartness. And pretty good carbonation. It's not, I don't know, you can see on the camera, it's pretty active. But the head is sticking around, even though it is definitely got some acidity. Yeah, I mean, there's only a little bit of, a mossy, almost very slight, weird cheesy funk to it. I would say that it's the hops. It's a lot of things happening. It's pretty complex. The hops and the lemony, lactic, sourness is at the fore too. Like you could easily notice that and not notice the funk, but the funk is there. Let's see if I can get the bottle in this frame better. There we go. And yeah, not too tart. Definitely it has a lemonade type flavor. This lemonade. It isn't quite grassy, but it's definitely got a green quality. And a funkiness, but it tastes a lot like just some of the best dry hop kettle sour beers I've had. With an extra oomph to it. And it's 5% alcohol, but wow, packs a lot of flavor. Yeah, for me, it's, once again, like I say, it's a lot of mixed culture saisons, and I think I said with another one I reviewed, Freckled Fields from Fox Farm, like it's on the edge of being too sour for me, just like a lot of the standard Hill Farmstead ales. This one is a little bit like Dorothy from Hill Farmstead, but also a little bit more like a Berliner Weisse, because Dorothy from Hill Farmstead is not really sour at all. That's a Brett forward. There's no lactic character, and that one's dry hop, but it's a little stronger. This has some notes of that, but definitely not as bready. Not over carbonated, but firmly. You saw the bubbles. But nice and juicy. It's just lemon, peach, and blueberry. Like maybe there's some kind of passion fruit thing happening. And yeah, the funk is kind of taken over by the hops and the acidity. I would definitely say really nice, but I'm glad that I had this fresh when I could notice it with the hops character and everything. And it has a pretty good rating, but I don't know, it's not quite my favorite. Just a little too sour and hops at the same time. Actually, this is a lot like Hill Farmstead's. They have a series of what they call Farmhouse IPAs, like their Farmstead ales, but then they're dry hopped, I think, after aging. The self-sufficiency or self-obedience, I can't even remember, self-reliance series. But yeah, for a couple years they've been doing all these additions to this beer that they like heavily hop, but then they age in barrels and they dry hop. And this is pretty similar to those. I think this is a little less strong, but it's very similar to those where, yeah, and they both have some big lactic character and just a lot of lactic acid and hops. Can be a little bit much for me, just I don't want it to be too sour and astringent. This would be a good blending beer for me. I wish I had a clean Saison to mix it with right now. But that's what I recommend a lot of people to do. If you like Saisons and sour beers, but sometimes they're too much, blend it with a clean, not sour Saison, and you can stretch out the complexity of a beer. Like, just mix this with 12 ounces of some clean Saison, and you'll notice the character of this beer. It'll be in those other beers. I don't think it's necessarily a waste. If you want the pure expression the brewer meant, of course, drink this straight first, but I think most brewers do blending in the first place. Like, blending is a whole art. That's what a lot of barrel-aged sour brewers are all about. You got to figure out what barrels to dump and what to blend and what works, and why not do that at home. But this beer is like a 4.25 for me. Very, very well put together, really great flavors. Haven't had a beer like this since Hill Farmstead, probably. Bye.